We were just talking about the guy from NBC. You know, you may hear him everywhere because he does motion picture promos, but he also does the NBC promo. He's the guy who says, a TV movie that had to happen now, then, and everywhere. And there's a comic even who actually does that as part of his routine.
Right.
That's how familiar that voice talent is. Do you know what his name is?
No, that name, I not off the cuff. I mean, it's there's a lot of people that that's all they do is they're like booth announcers, they're called them. You know, they work at stations and they do all the promos that you hear between, you know,
but
programs.
For that station, this guy in Los Angeles that everybody knows, he is picked up, from what I understand, at his house by a limo, and he is taken from studio to studio to studio to do commercials and promos and documentaries and things like that. It's not a bad life. He literally makes millions.
No, there was one that he used to do a lot of work for ABC named Ernie Anderson, and he made millions doing a lot of what you're just talking about.
And by the way, you want to know how this guy knows? He knows so much about how to make $1 million with your voice that he actually wrote a book with that title. Gary Owens, of course, is the guy who did it and is the co-author of the book. Jeff Lenburg, so knowledgeable, so good that we carried him over from yesterday because we didn't get a chance to ask him enough about how it is that you can make money as a voiceover talent. So, do I need an agent? And I'm talking specifically about being in Phoenix, and we'll get to Los Angeles and moving out of town later on. But if I'm in Phoenix, and you said yesterday you have to start with an acceptable voice.
Yeah, you need a voice that's clear and crisp. You need to stretch the limits of your voice. You need to show a range, a variety, warm and upbeat. You know, if you can do some characters besides just a straight announcing voice, that's good.
Even in Phoenix.
Even in Phoenix, because they have radio commercials. There's also television commercials that are produced here. They may want you not just to do voiceover work, but also on-camera work where you're using your voice and also, again, stretching your talent. So agencies, there are agencies here that do handle voiceover clients.
All right, how important is it for me to get an agent to represent me rather than my trying to do it myself?
You probably will not be nearly as successful if you do not have an agent. It's like a writer who needs a literary agent to get their book published, or a book sold to a publisher, or an actor who, that's all they do is act in films and television commercials. You need an agent, first and foremost.
Okay, and you say that they do exist here, and I suppose probably we can go to the Yellow Pages, or we can look them up on the internet.
Actually, if you go to the Arizona Film Commission, which has a online site, they have a directory, and you can look under talent agencies online, and it will list not only the agency names, but it also give you a summary of the kind of areas that they specialize and kind of clients they represent. And there's about, in this market, about almost 5 to 6 agencies that will handle voiceover talent. But to sign you, they'll also want you to do more than just voiceover. They'll want you to maybe be able to act and do some on-camera work.
Sure, so that they can sell you, so that they can make money. However, please allow me to add this caveat, okay? Caveat means avoid, this is Latin for avoid getting the shaft. If anybody, and I didn't even check with Jeff about this, but I know he believes this, if anybody says you have to pay them up front, do not do anything with that person except leave. People are always dangling the carrot of stardom.
No, and if someone says that they can do more for you than the other person, you want to study the marketplace. First, before you even get into becoming a voiceover personality, you want to study the marketplace. Listen to the local radio stations. Listen to the commercials that are done. Watch your local television stations to see what kind of local commercials are done. That will allow you to see what you could how you can sell your talent to your market, and also a prospective agent. The other thing is with working with agents is that you need, again, a very well-produced demo. It does not have to have more than maybe a half a dozen to maybe a dozen different cuts, okay?
Now, where does one get the material? I get asked that all the time. What do I put on my demo?
Well, I produced a demo of different voices, and I was fortunate that in the case of working with Gary Owens, I had some scripts that he had sent me over the years that I had. But anyone can you could tape record commercials. You can tape record these commercials that you hear on radio, on TV, and then you can basically adapt your own scripts from what you've heard or what you've watched.
You write my own stuff?
Write your own stuff.
What if I'm not a writer, though? What if I'm okay doing somebody else's material, but I don't write? Writing commercial copy is a skill unto itself.
It is. But in our book, we do show you how to put together scripts. We give you sample scripts. You can use the samples in our book. You can adapt them to your market. In this area, if you're a man, they would like to maybe cast you as a husband, a business executive, a golfer. Again, you have to study the industries that are here, and then again, look at what other people are doing in the marketplace with their voice and with their acting talent.
And women, are they as much in demand?
Definitely. I mean, you can look at the commercials. There's as much demand for women as there are men.
What if I have an accent? Most of the time, that's a barrier to doing broad range work.
Right.
But if I have a Hispanic accent, if I have a Latino or Latina accent, it might be of great additional help.
Definitely. That's not a handicap. I mean, we live in a bilingual age, and so certainly if you you're bilingual, you can not only do maybe some straight English commercials, but also, again, Spanish.
The whole idea, though, of doing this is like anything else in the performing arts, not the easiest thing to break into.
Right.
A lot of competition for fewer jobs.
Right.
But if people are really serious about it and they're starting out and they don't have any specific reason for staying in the market, do you recommend that they actually go to Los Angeles where the work is?
Here, what I suggest doing is try to build a career here. You know, you can go to LA, but just like here, they're going to they're going to ask, what have you done? What kind of work have you done? You have to show something. It'd be much harder to break into a bigger marketplace. As Gary will tell you, and he's interviewing him for the book, a small market's not a bad thing. Work it to your advantage. Build your career here. Get your samples of your work together, and then go to another marketplace.
Can I pay my mortgage payment for a reasonable size house by just doing voiceovers here?
Absolutely not. It's like anything that's a vocation, whether you want to go into acting, writing, whatever. You need variety. You need to, again, stretch your talent, go in other directions with your talent, not solely depend on just voiceover as the only means.
Talk about a guy who has stretched his talent, for crying out loud. Stretched to the breaking point is this gentleman, Jeff Lenburg, an award-winning celebrity biographer, entertainment historian. He's written 14 nonfiction books, many transferred to a number of other languages internationally.
Right.
But listen to this, for biographies, talk about a range. Larry Gatlin, the country singer, Dustin Hoffman, Veronica Lake. Of course, I don't remember Veronica Lake, but my father told me about her. Steve Martin, Dudley Moore, the Three Stooges. Listen, the people love celebrities. It's one of the reasons why there's Inside Edition and Entertainment Tonight and so. All right, give me a short paragraph on Dustin Hoffman.
He can be at times profiled or as a difficult actor. People misunderstand him. He is an actor that essentially really studies for his roles. He wants to, again, portray them accurately. But people sometimes think he's too difficult because of the fact that he, again, is so much of a perfectionist.
And Dudley Moore, one of my favorites.
Dudley Moore, a multi-talent. He was a great musician, but a great comedian and a great actor. He really showed all range.
You know what? Listen, you're such an interesting guy. We got to have you back now for a third visit. How to Make $1 Million with Your Voice, available in discriminating bookstores, and some actually that really don't particularly care about being discriminating as long as you come in with your money. How to Make $1 Million with Your Voice. And you know what? You may be able to buy several copies of this because you're such a success in the voiceover business. Jeff Lenburg with Gary Owens. Back in a moment.